It takes a lot of water to drill for natural gas using hydraulic fracturing. To ensure an uninterrupted and eco-friendly supply of water to its drill site just west of Calumet, Devon Energy created a Frack water recycling plant. Devon expects this system will soon spread across the fracking industry, and Kathy Tatum found out how it works.
This first-of-its-kind half-million-gallon artificial pond in Canadian County is the key to Devon Energy's new frack water recycling facility. Operations engineer Jim Heinz says the plant uses miles of buried pipeline to send the pond's water to and from individual well sites that are drilling for natural gas in the Cana-Woodford Shale.
This one facility we have here is going to service approximately 30 sections of land. What we're doing currently is we've drilled one well per section, and now we're going back in and adding 8 more wells in each section. So if you took that 30 times 9, we're looking at 270 wells right there.
The wells dot the landscape in a fairly concentrated area, bordered by Interstate 40 and Highways 281 and 270. Many wells share the rolling prairie with wind farms. Shale at this gas site can be up to 17,000 feet below the ground. So, Devon fracks the rock by pumping water under high pressure deep into the well. The gas released from the crack flows up to the surface. Before a well goes into full production, much of the water comes back to the surface too. At a traditional fracking operation, that wastewater is sent to a disposal pit.
In a typical frack job, we use around 10 to 15,000 barrels per frack stage. And typically we're going to do somewhere between 10 and 15 frack stages per well.
Devon engineer Travis Dean says until this facility was built, all that water was hauled to and from each well site and only used once.
Since we have such good water here, we decided to bring it in, to build a facility and build a pipeline and infrastructure to take all this water back in from the field and store it in a pond and recycle it. So we don't have to take water from the river or water from ponds and take the water from the freshwater tape, our natural resources. We can keep using this water over and over again and to recycle it, if you will.
At the facility near Calumet, recycling happens 2 ways. The plant can automatically divert water returning from one well site to be used immediately at another. Or it can be cleaned up and stored in the pond until it's needed for a new well. Water that stays at the facility first runs through a long trench to settle out solids. Next, it's pumped into giant tanks where oil and gas residues separate out of the water. Then, just before it goes into the pond for storage, it's treated to kill bacteria. Before this concept came online, most of the water going to and from a frack job had to be hauled in a tanker truck. It went past people's homes and their property, and that generated a lot of complaints about the noise and traffic.
This facility is designed for a throughput of 30,000 barrels a day. So to give you a feel for how much that is, a typical truckload of water is somewhere around 120 barrels. So if we were to bring that much water in on trucks, you'd have hundreds to thousands of truckloads in here each day. Whereas typically we've been out here for quite some time and we've only seen one truck.
This truck came to dump water from a well that's not connected to the facility by a pipeline. Devon's engineers see this type of recycling as the future for hydraulic fracking in locations with lots of wells in a concentrated area, or in places where water is scarce.
In arid regions where water is a more precious resource than it is in areas where they get plenty of rainfall, the industry is going to have to use these type of facilities to continue on to develop the domestic reserves that we have.
Frack water recycling also provides a way to keep natural gas drilling operations working during droughts.
It lets us keep on going. It lets us keep completing our wells, where if we had a drought and we didn't have any fresh water to use in our completions, we'd be out of business. We couldn't complete our wells. But since we're reusing this water and we can store it, we have as much coming in as we have going out, so we can just kind of keeps us afloat.
Designing and building the facility and its network of pipelines required the Corporation Commission to develop a new permitting structure to ensure safe operations. The agency worked with Devon to develop rules for everything from how deep to bury the pipes to how thick to make the pond liner that protects groundwater from contamination. It was a long process,
We started working with the Corporation Commission in 2008 to get the pit permitted and get the liner and the whole design of the facility. We began construction in fall of 2011 on the facility, and we began the pipeline construction in February.
In May, the facility began test runs pumping water to and from well sites. Now, it's fully operational.
We've done approximately 1 million barrels recycled through the facility.
And millions more will flow through the plant because this facility is designed to keep recycling frack water for at least the next 10 to 15 years.